Hi students, welcome to your English class. This video is a continuation on the chapter pronouns. So before we start a new kind of pronouns, let's start with a very quick revision of what we did so far. So let's start with the definition of pronouns. Pronouns are words that replaces nouns. I, me, she, we, they. All these are pronouns, and within the kinds of pronouns we have already done personal pronouns. In the grammatical sense, a personal pronoun is a pronoun that is related mainly to a particular person. Personal pronouns are not only limited to people and can also refer to animals and objects. And students, you know that there are a few subject pronouns and object pronouns. Say for example, I, you, we, he, she, it and they are used in the subjects, whereas me, you, us, him, her, it, them, these pronouns are used only in the objects. So personal pronouns can be used in three different categories. First person singular is I and plural is we. Second person singular and plural both are you. Third person singular is he, she, it, whereas the plural one is they. Next, we have already done demonstrative pronouns. These pronouns are used to point out specific people, places or things. There are four demonstrative pronouns. Say for example, these, that, these and those. Let's see their usage. To point out a singular object which is near in distance, we use this. To point out a singular object which is far in distance, we use that. In a similar way, we need to use these and those for the plural nouns. Next, we have done possessive pronoun. Possessive pronouns are those pronouns which tell us about possession or ownership. They tell us that a particular thing belongs to whom. Mine, ours, his, yours, hers, theirs. These are the possessive pronouns which we use in a sentence. We have also seen the interrogative pronouns and their usage in the sentence. Who, what, which, whom, whose. These are the interrogative pronouns and they can also be used as interrogative adjectives. And we have already learned the basic difference between an interrogative pronoun and an interrogative adjective. So what is it? Interrogative pronouns can stand alone, but interrogative adjectives cannot stand alone. Interrogative pronouns replaces a noun, but interrogative adjective modifies a noun. Interrogative adjectives generally follow a noun or pronoun, but interrogative pronouns generally follow a verb. So is the difference clear to you, students? Now let's have a look into a different kind of pronoun, that is reflexive pronouns. So what do you mean by reflexive pronoun? The word reflexive is an adjective. It means reflecting back on the subject like a mirror. We use a reflexive pronoun when we want to refer back to the subject of the sentence. Reflexive pronouns end in self when it is singular or selves when it is plural. So, how to identify a reflexive pronoun? Reflexive pronoun must always have self in singular form and selves in plural form. There are 8 reflexive pronouns in English grammar. The singular reflexive pronouns are myself, yourself, himself, herself and itself. Look, this word self is attached with every single singular reflexive pronoun. And in case of plural, we use ourselves, yourselves and themselves. Now look at these examples. In case of non-reflexive, the underlined words in this chart are not the same person or thing. But in case of reflexive pronouns, the underlined words are the same person or thing. First one, John saw me. In this sentence, John, the subject, and me, the object, are two different persons. They are not same. But if I say, I saw myself in the mirror, in this sentence, I is the subject and saw is the verb. Now, if I ask the verb a question with whom, I saw whom, I saw myself. Hence, myself becomes an object and becomes a reflexive pronoun. I saw myself in the mirror. That means a reflection of mine. Is it clear, students? So, we can easily understand that if we ask the verb a question with whom, and if the verb replies, it becomes an object. And if the object is a pronoun with self or selves attached to it, then definitely it becomes a reflexive pronoun. Clear your concept with the next sentence. In the first one, why does he blame you? Here, he and you are two different people. But in the next sentence, why do you blame yourself? Why do you blame yourself? In this case, you and yourself are the same person. You blame whom? You blame yourself. So the verb is giving the reply of the question whom, and the answer or the object is a pronoun with self attached to it. Hence, it becomes a reflexive pronoun. Similarly, David sent him a copy. Here, him is an object but not a reflexive pronoun. In the next sentence, John sent himself a copy. John sent whom? Himself a copy. Here, himself is a reflexive pronoun. Mary sent herself. Herself becomes a reflexive pronoun. So whenever John is a boy, we need to use himself, and if Mary is a girl, so we need to use herself. My dog hurt whom? Itself. We blame whom? Ourselves. We is plural, so we need to use the plural reflexive pronoun, that is ourselves. Can you help yourselves? They cannot look after themselves. So students, myself, himself, herself, itself, ourselves, yourselves, and themselves are the reflexive pronouns. The subject pronouns I, you, he, she, and it are always singular. In case of I, we need to use myself. In case of you need to use yourself. In case of he, himself, she, herself, it, itself. But in case of plural subject pronouns like we, you, and they, we need to use ourselves, yourselves, and themselves. Now a confusion may arise here with the pronoun you. Students, you can work both as singular and plural form. If the you is singular, we need to use yourself. But if we are referring you as plural, then definitely we need to use yourselves. So that's all for today, students. Learn the reflexive pronoun very carefully. Without self or selves, reflexive pronouns cannot be formed. Thank you, students. Stay safe. If you have any problem, ask me in the next DCC class.